the 6180 in the cornfield right now. The reason we use this tractor is because it's the easiest tractor we have to kind of slide the wheels in and out. That way it fits in between the rows, right? Because normally they're wider, so it doesn't tip over and stuff. But this one, we can just loosen a couple bolts up, and it can just slide in on the rim, and it kind of rotates in or out, which depending how you want it. So, I mean, it works for what we need it for. We don't have a GPS in or whatever, so I do gotta kind of pay attention, making this a little difficult, but you know, we'll make it work. We'll show you guys what we do here. So what we're actually doing is just top dressing the corn with nitrogen. I'll open the back window so which that right there is a lot more expensive than it has been in previous years, but still gonna put some on. Probably we're not putting as much on as we normally do, but we still have to put some on. And behind, they're in a different field. Alex and Johannes are actually cultivating it in right away too. That way it doesn't evaporate or anything. So it all goes like they have 5 tines, and then they run between the rows too with 2 international tractors, and it just kind of picks the dirt up and it flops over and covers up the nitrogen, so that way it doesn't evaporate. It's in the ground for the corn to use, which is what we need. We don't need it. We don't spread it just so it can evaporate. You can put I forgot what it is. It's a product that you put on the nitrogen. You kind of mix it in, and it binds to it, and it won't let it evaporate. I think there's a blue product and a green product. One's for if the ground is really wet, it doesn't just kind of run through the ground, it kind of sits. And the other one is so the sun doesn't evaporate, that way it actually goes into the ground. We don't have that right now, and we don't really need it for corn because we do cultivate it into the ground. So that's what we're doing. I am pretty much running, so there's a track right there that was with the sprayer, and I can pretty much follow that path. Kind of makes it a little easier since I don't have GPS in this. I can just kind of swing back around where he did, and the spreader coverage is wide enough to where it gets to that. It makes it a little easier. It's really easy easy to, I don't know if you can see it, but I don't know, you can very easily start destroying corn. So, yeah. Yeah, just like that. That's a good way to go. Well, like I said, it's not just me out here. I don't know if you can see him. Yeah, right there. Johan is also cultivating. Same exact setup, pretty much the same tractor. Both of the cultivators are homemade, so I guess you could say they're the same thing. Not really, but we made them both ourselves. I definitely did, but you know. He's trying to pass me. We're coming to the end here. And so at the end, it's not really complicated, but so we have a 12-row planter, and it's only technically a 6-row or a 5-row cultivator, because you skip a row. That because the end rows are obviously not always perfect. We don't use GPS, so you don't cultivate that one in case they get too close, so that way you're not running over corn. So he's skipping a row, he turns wide, so that way I can go to the close one, but he was right next to me, so if he goes wide, then I can technically just go in right where he ended. But let's say if he was farther back, I would skip right where he was coming up and go over here. That way we can turn wide and we don't have to come out where I came out and go right back in where he was. That just makes turning around a little easier. And so I'll drive in here, my outside one will hit there, and then we skip one. So, and you can also skip one on the other side too. So, not really complicated, just gotta be able to do a little bit of counting. So, and usually you do it on the go, but it's kind of hard to record, talk, and do it all on the go. So. And he's already leaving me. So. See, so right here's a good example. You can see that those rows are too close. If that was the outside rows that the planter's passed. Right there, you can see they get farther apart. So in a lot of the places, you could cultivate there, but we just always skip them so that way you're not running over corn. As you can see, as long as you stay somewhat in the center of the row, keep an eye on it. You don't really run over much of any corn besides when you turn around at the end, but you gain more in the grand scheme of things with what you do with the straight rows compared to what you lose in the end rows. So yeah. Alright, so I figured I should get off for a second in case the audio for everything else I recorded is junk, because it's very loud being right next to the tractor when you're recording. And I figured that I could show you. So right there you can see in between those rows, this is where Ferdy drove with the fertilizer spreader, and you can see the little fertilizer pellets everywhere, the little white things. And so they're kind of spread out between the rows and everywhere. And I guess I can show you where we cultivated. So you really can't see them. So anywhere, I mean, I can't really find one right here actually, from where we covered it. And right here you can see them everywhere. And so what it does is it goes right down the middle, and it just kind of throws the soil outwards a little bit. Here it did a little bit more of a digging because that row was kind of packed down. So I mean, it really just digs a little trench and throws the dirt outwards, and really kind of throws any fertilizer in the middle towards the plant. And as you can see, it really doesn't affect the root. It leaves the corn right alone as long as you're centered in the rows. I mean, this middle shank isn't perfectly centered, but even then it really doesn't affect the corn. It's still close enough, but I mean, we built it ourselves, and so it's not perfect. But like this one, perfectly centered, doesn't touch the corn at all. Digs a nice little trench, covers the fertilizer. Yep. So yeah, and that is the operation today. And all that is already done. So we just have this little bit left, and then we got another field back there. So yeah, just getting after it today. Yeah. Luckily it's not too hot. I think it's like 75 degrees. I've done this before when it's 90, 95, and it sucks. So yeah.